Evelyn to Philip, September 11th, 1944. Dearest sweetheart, received yours very lovingly of September 2nd and 4th, one of which contained the brooch. It is lovely, and I shall get a chain for it first chance I get. Teresa suggested that I make a pin out of it, which is also a good idea. Thanks so much, honey, and if only I could hug and kiss you for it. I can, anyhow, if you use your imagination a bit. By the way, sweet, I have another request for an 8th Air Force insignia from Ruth. If you can get one for her, I'd like her to have it. If not, well, that's that. Phil, our little radio is deader than a doornail. It stopped playing several days ago, and it will cost $8.50 to have it fixed. I had decided to sell the radio rather than pay that price to have it fixed, but I don't feel that it is worth $8.50 to have repaired. I could get a good price for it now, and we could buy a white-cased radio after the war for our bedroom and a large one for the living room. I seldom have the opportunity to play or even listen to the radio, and Mom and Harry being the only two that derived any pleasure from it, I thought perhaps they might chip in just a wee bit to ease the cost to me. Since such is not the case, I am not particularly fond of expending a large sum of money at the present time. My dad has promised to take it to several places to try to have it repaired at a lesser cost, and if he is successful, then and only then will we have a radio in the house. Would you want me to sell it or hold on to it, sweet? Since it is yours as well as mine, and a wedding gift in the bargain, I thought it best to ask your advice. Adele once knocked it over when Mom was taking care of her, and she broke the handle on top and one of the knobs, which is stage 2, used to regulate the stations. Otherwise, nothing was wrong, for the radio has been playing all along. I shall wait to hear from you. I also just completed a letter to Evelyn and Bert. Since I do not have the bottles or nipples, I told them I would send them along if I could get them, and if not, that I would appreciate if they would request something else for the baby. I have so little time to really shop, honey, or to do many of the things I would like to do. I broke the ice last night by taking in a movie. I treated Ruth to a movie and some ice cream at Ben's. The picture, White Cliffs of Dover, was excellent, but left me with a bitter taste in my mouth. How can one person endure so much? I don't recall if you saw the picture. Did you? Irene Dunn was the star. Phil, it is positively uncanny the way we think of the same things at the same time. For instance, your letter of September 4th warned me not to expect you home directly after the war in Europe ends. I think you will find that I wrote about that very same subject just about the time you did. It hurts so much to know that, Phil, and I could cry and cry and cry about it. However, we shall wait and see exactly what is going to happen. If you have to, you have to. We had a censored letter from Seymour today, care of Fleet Post Office, New York, saying that he had been assigned to the USS New Yorker. I wonder where he'll wind up. I had a flock of letters both Saturday and today from Sid, Phil, Glow, Jack N., and Milt. Phil has been transferred from Tacoma, Washington to Atlanta, Georgia, where he will attend a surgical technician school for 3 months. As he said, Pop said I had mazel, and I do. In case you want to write to him, his address is PFC PS 33, 310, 99D, Lawson General Hospital, ST School, Atlanta, Georgia. Page 3. Jackie didn't say much except that he was seeing a lot of Marilyn and that nothing is definite yet. He'll probably write to you shortly. I owe him a letter, but want to wait till a duplicate set of the snaps is ready. Sid wrote the usual letter and said he wasn't mad that I hadn't written all this time. I'm going to try to get a letter off to him tonight, if time allows. It's pretty late already. Glo informed us that she will visit us September 23rd. I wonder if you recall that particular date, and asked me to reorder some of the stationery for her. Milt wrote the nicest letter I've had from him since he went overseas. They had moved out of the jungle onto the beach and had some decent food and a cot to sleep on for the first time in a long while. He killed several more Japs. He says the natives there are a big help carrying their food and supplies for them. You asked me in your letter to tell you how it feels to hug Adele for the third time. It's hard for me to put it down on paper, but honey, I will say that next to love of man and woman and their embrace, there is no more beautiful feeling than the arms of a child. She is soft, smooth, and very cuddly, not to mention responsive. She loves to love and isn't at all bashful. She hugs me very tightly and kisses me on the lips just as you would. Now ain't you jealous, sweet? Page 4. Ruth and I got the biggest kick out of Adele last night. After her bath, I let her lie on our bed, and Ruth and I joined her. We sang to her for a little while until she started to sing to herself, a baby, and suddenly Ruth broke the silence. I said, Ruth, shut up, and Adele piped in with the exact same words. It sounded so funny coming from her, and since neither of us heard her say it before, we both burst out laughing. She also says "top it" for stop it. What a kid. Phil, if only I knew you'd come home soon. Gloria complained that Jack does not receive enough mail from home. On this particular occasion, I mentioned that Glo writes to Jack as often as I write to you, and that you never get any mail from us at home. There are always excuses that just make me mad at times. I promised to make Diana an outfit and intend to start just as soon as Goldie selects the wool. Goldie says she has no patience to knit, but I reminded her that I don't have the time or the patience, but no one will do it for me, which quieted her, but good. I'm most anxious to make the baby a nice outfit, especially in view of the generosity of her family, as well as Harry and Goldie. And it is surprising that I can find time for everything somehow, isn't it? I didn't get to bed till 12 for the past few nights, and since I fully intend to get some semblance of sleep tonight, I'm going to sign off right this minute. I worked as usual today. Things are very routine at the office. Phil, would you want me to work till you come home and perhaps for a short while after till we were settled financially? Or quit before you come home? I was wondering what you thought about it. I'd like to know where we stand before I give up this job with its favorable hours, but we'll leave that up to you too. Baby, I love you so much, I just don't know what to do or say. Darling, your Ev. Philip to Evelyn, September 11th, 1944. Dearest Evie, first, I must explain why I didn't write yesterday. The truth is, after a pretty hectic day, I lay down to grab 40 winks and didn't wake up till I'd grabbed about 40,000. I was as mad about it as you must be, 'cause I'd received your long-typed letter of 28/29 August 44 and your V-mail of 1 September that afternoon, and I had fully intended answering them in the evening. Please accept my apology, sweet, and I'll try to make it up to you here. Your V-mail of 3 September arrived this afternoon, so now I have 3 of your letters to answer. Before I go into that, though, I flatter myself you'd like a few sentences about what I've been doing these past couple of days. Well, yesterday found me pounding the typewriters practically all day on a miscellany of letters, forms, etc. You already know how I wasted the evening. Please, no recriminations now. Today, something. I was busy typing from 8 a.m. well into the afternoon. Afterwards, I played 11 games of ping pong on our new table against 5 different opponents and won them all, which explains why I'm in a pretty good humor right now. Another factor influencing my rather mellow mood is that we had ice cream at supper for the first time in about 7 months. It wasn't very good as ice cream goes, but who can be fussy after so long a time without it? Mentally, I'm pretty tired right now. Do you sense it? But I'm fighting off the desire to relax until I finish this. Now, let's see what your letters call forth. You were feeling unusually good when you wrote on the 28th due to the fact that you had received a couple of my letters that day. You explained that Mom and Harry and Goldie wanted to help me out in the bond drive, but just didn't get around to sending the money. It's good to know their intentions were good, but good intentions didn't raise our total one little bit. Page 2. But I don't intend to reopen the subject. You say that Harry made a terrible stink when you went back to work. He might have had some justification for his objections if you had left the pumpkin on Mom's or Goldie's hands, but since you were forced to leave her in your mom's care, I can only say he had a colossal nerve in even venturing an opinion. As to that, I have a few opinions that I never aired because I didn't want to start any dissension among you. But don't for a minute, Chippy, think that I am entirely unaware of what goes on back there, or that I am forgetting it. Don't even give a second thought to the possibility that we will live anyway but alone once I get back. You declined to answer my letter of the 20th August as I had asked you to, but you asked me to remind you to do so sometime. Well, I'm reminding you. Sure would like to hear what you have to say on the subject, sweet. Then you tell me all about your visit with Mike and Francis and Norma. I enjoyed reading about it, honey, and I'm glad you had a nice time. I certainly would like to see those movies Mike made of you and the cheesecake, but I guess it will have to wait for the duration plus, because I don't know where I could get my hands on an 8mm projector. Have you invited them up to visit us? I haven't had a reply to my letter to Mike, but if I don't hear from him within the next few days, I'll write again and thank him for the good time he showed you and the pumpkin. By the way, how old is Norma? Adele's new trick of saying Daddy dear intrigues me and makes me wonder if she enunciates the R in dear. Why do I pick on these inconsequentials? I didn't think that 8th Air Force pin I sent you would make such an impression. Truth to tell, I've seen prettier ones, and I mean to send one along for Mom as soon as I can get into town to see Bert. He sells them. Makes me wonder how that brooch I sent along will strike you. You want to know what I think about that table and chair set for Adele. I already knew that you had bought it, but it sounds like a good idea anyhow. I got an idea that Snuffy, being an experienced machinist, will wind up in an ordnance outfit. At least he should. Page 3. You say he wired from St. Louis and then, naively, guess he's headed for the West Coast or something. And then, because you haven't time to start another page this evening, you ended your letter rather abruptly. But I'm not complaining, sweetheart, because it was quite a long one and made delightful reading. Sorry, honey, but I must sign off now because the guys are all in their sacks and clamoring for me to put the lights out. Just want to remind you that I love you very much and that I'm keeping our date faithfully. My dearest love to the pumpkin. My love to all. Remember me to the Fromers. Good night, baby mine. Snuggle up close, closer. That's it. Night, sweet. Lovingly, your Phil. Snuff Cohen, Phil's friend, dated September 11th, 1944. Dear Phil, well, the Army finally got me. I guess you've known for quite a while now. As you can see, I am at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, and if there is one place I don't want to be, is down here. The sun is hot, and I do mean hot, and we just can't go through a day without having a good rain. You take your clothes off wet from perspiration and put them on again in the morning, just as wet as when you took them off. You can't wear underwear twice ever, even if you want to. That means that I have a good wash every week. I can't give it to the laundry, as you never get back what you gave them. I hear Evie hasn't heard from you in quite a while, so I guess that you are now in France, behind the lines, I hope. I was supposed to start basic, page 2 today, but went on sick call instead. I can see 2 black spots with my right eye, whether it is open or closed, and wanted to find out what caused it. All I got out of that was some drops. If that doesn't help, which I don't think it will, I'll keep going back until I find out just what is wrong. I had a nice trip coming down here from New Cumberland and had a 5-hour layover at St. Louis. I took a walk around the town and say they have a damn nice USO club there. I had played ping pong with one of the boys for an hour and got a little dancing at the same time. Well, Phil, let me know what is doing with you, as I would like to correspond with an old friend like you. The one and only Snuff.